So this week it's hard for me to talk about self-storage and the self-storage business and talking about it as usual without acknowledging what's going on in the country. So let's do that. Let's have a real conversation about race in this country. My name's Mark Helm, and I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Self-Storage Quick Start Academy. But today I want to have a slightly different kind of conversation. I'm not sure when you're seeing this, but if you're watching this at a later date, we are in the end of May, beginning of June 2020. And we are coming slowly out of the COVID-19 lockdown or quarantines that we've experienced. And much of this country is demonstrating right now over the inequality and the death of African American people at the hands of the police. George Floyd died in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Breonna Taylor died here in our hometown, Louisville, Kentucky. These are the two events that seem to have triggered all of the demonstrations that we've seen in our country. Now, it's been a long time coming, but it's happening week after week, and even in other countries across the world. So I find it hard just to continue on as if we're talking about business as usual while this is going on. The problem's been, I just really don't know what to say. I don't feel like I've had anything to contribute to the conversation. So over the past couple of weeks, I've remained mostly quiet, but I'm realizing that doesn't serve anyone. I've discovered that I really need to do a lot more listening than talking, and I have way more to learn in this area than I do to share in this area. And I'm committed to doing what I can do that will close the inequality gap and make a difference in this country. Because I'm convinced that the more integrated our country is, the more diverse our country is, the stronger our country is. So I've worked with a number of African American and people of color and supporting them in getting in the self-storage business. Some have gotten in the storage business, some have explored getting in the self-storage business, but I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. So I want to create a platform where you can actually share your voice. Now, I realize it's not your job to teach me or to teach us, but I wanted to create a platform where you could share your experiences, share what it's been like for you being an entrepreneur in this country, and particularly in and around the self-storage business. I know I've grown up with white privilege. I'm pretty aware of it, having grown up in the South. But what's interesting for me is over time how my relationship with the police has changed. When I was in my young teens, mid-teens, it was the early 70s, late 60s. I don't know if you remember that time period, but back then there was a real divide around long-haired people and short-haired people. And I was one of the long-haired people, very anti-establishment. If you were born in the time period I happened to be born in, and you were very rebellious, and you were anti-war, the Vietnam War was going on, then odds are you were long hair. And I grew my hair pretty long and had the whole look and feel of the anti-establishment movement. Well, you remember the 60s and the 70s. Well, what's interesting is my relationship with the police at that time. How I looked got me on the radar of the police in our area, and in other parts of the country too, almost anywhere I went. The common thought was back then that if you stop someone who looks like me, odds are you are going to find drugs on them. So I cannot tell you the number of times I was stopped for nothing, insignificant, didn't put my blinker on fast enough, insignificant reasons to stop me and then search me in my car. I know firsthand what it's like to be handcuffed sitting on the sidewalk while my car gets ransacked. Now, the stopping was just a pretense. The stopping me for a quote traffic violation was really just a pretense to try to find something wrong where they could arrest me on a more significant charge. They never found one, but that didn't stop the fact I got arrested 3 or 4 times. I was never prosecuted for anything significant, but how I looked had me get stopped numerous times for no reason at all. The whole reason really was to hopefully find some drugs on me where they could bust me for something more serious. Now, what's interesting is, over time, as I matured, became less rebellious, my hair got shorter, I looked more establishment. In other words, I became whiter. What's interesting is, I ended up off the radar for the most part of the police. It was the late 70s was the last time I was arrested, but my relationship with the police changed. Now, I don't want to in any way equate my experiences with the experiences that African Americans may have with the police. You know, the reality is, even though I might have been hassled, you know, I could get up and walk away from every encounter I had with them, and it wasn't that significant, and it wasn't that traumatic to me. It was more of a hassle. So I'm not trying to equate the two, but I do know firsthand what the experience is like of being somebody that is targeted by the police. And I can only imagine the experience of many of our African American citizens and people of color. I got to walk away. Many other people of color haven't. So I've been reluctant to say anything because I don't feel like I have that much to contribute. And the truth is, I don't. What I am able to do, though, is listen. And if you are an African American in the entrepreneurial space or in considering getting in the self-storage business and you would like to say something for me to hear, or our community to hear, or my staff to hear, I'm all ears. You can use this platform. You can respond, or if you go to the website creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com, right on the home page on the left-hand side is a button for leaving a voicemail, and feel free to leave a voicemail for me. I'd like to hear your experiences and hear what it's been like for you in our country, being an entrepreneur and being in or getting in the self-storage business. Leave a message. Let me know if it's something you want to share or if it's just for us. And I'm all ears. Again, I know it's not your job to teach us, but I would like to learn more if you're willing to share about what your experience has been like. So next week, we're going to be talking about online marketing, but it just felt very difficult for me to continue going without saying something about what's going on in our country now. And I must stand that everyone and anyone in our country has the opportunity to live and experience the fullest that they can in our country and become the most they can be. I must stand for that. I support that. And whatever I can do to make that a reality in our country, I am for. So I hope to hear from you, and thank you for letting me share. My name is Mark Helm, and I'll see you later.